No water there either.
Steve Snyder's lived in his Cave Creek home for 15 years.
Well, good luck taking a shower with that.
And he's never experienced something quite like this.
No water, we woke up with it this morning and we called. Of course, you have to call the emergency number because the town of Cave Creek is not open on Friday.
We called that emergency number to figure out what's going on and when water could be restored. We were told someone from the town would call us back, but they never did. According to the town's website, there's no estimate on when repairs will be completed to the damaged pump. But town officials are asking people to avoid washing clothes and dishes and to reduce their water usage while repairs happen.
I just had put in a load of laundry and I used the time of day to do all my, that kind of stuff, and just hoping it wasn't like the water that they used to irrigate, that it was still good water.
Cindy Arnold's grateful to still have running water, but in this extreme heat, she's concerned about people's need to shower.
I'm all for the environment and reducing and helping out. It's grimy and hot out here.
Cindy wishes the town alerts would have confirmed that any water use was safe, and she's not the only one concerned about how the town handled this situation.
There's a lot of people that don't know about it, and they're using water doing laundry. We should have known it before instead of this exact same day.
I had projects I wanted to do this morning, and out working outside in Arizona, you work up quite a sweat. So yeah, it's impacted our life.
Steve says if he continues to not have access to any water, he might have to go to a friend's house in Phoenix or even go to a hotel. He does say that he plans on going to the next town council meeting to try to find out some more information about how this water issue happened. In Cave Creek, Elliot Polikoff, Arizona's Fan.